Alternative formats for this presentation can be found on the Financial Services website. For assistance, visit or contact us. Email us at finance.training@queensu.ca or give us a call at 613-533-2050. Welcome to Research Commitments, a look behind this figure. Commitments are known future expenses which have not yet been incurred. The types of commitments you may see in your research project include salaries and benefits, graduate research assistant fellowships, or GRAFs, purchase requisitions and purchase orders, overhead, travel advances, and subject payment advances. You may view your research project commitments by running a project summary report or a statement of operations research report. Both of these reports are accessible through the FAST Administrative Support tool. In the FAST Project Summary Report, underlined values represent hyperlinks. You may access additional details behind these figures simply by clicking on the hyperlinks. Hyperlinks are also available in the Statement of Operations Research Report. Salary and benefit commitments. Salary and benefit commitments are calculated as projected salaries and benefits based on approved salary contracts, less salary and benefit expenses incurred to date for approved salary contracts. For example, if the approved salary contract, including benefits, was $60,000, and the salary and benefit expenses incurred to date totaled $5,000, the remaining salary commitment would appear as $55,000 in the project. Please note that in the first month of pay, salary and benefit expenses for that month will be reflected in the research project, along with the balance of the commitment. The remaining commitment amount is calculated up to the earlier of the end of the salary contract or the university fiscal year end of April 30th. Accounts beginning with 5 represent salary and benefit accounts. These accounts are used to identify payroll and non-payroll transactions. The type of commitment is identified under the Commitment Type column. Payroll commitments relate to salary and benefit transactions processed by payroll services. Non-payroll commitments within the 5 account range relate to Graduate Research Assistant Fellowship, or GRAF, contracts. These transactions are processed by the Accounts Payable Unit. GRAF commitments. GRAF commitments are reported as non-payroll commitments since these transactions are handled by the Accounts Payable Unit versus payroll services. GRAF commitments are calculated by multiplying the current month's payment by the number of months remaining in the GRAF contract. For example, we will consider a GRAF contract which runs from January to December of 2016 for a total of $12,000. Once the first monthly payment of $1,000 has been processed, the remaining commitment can be calculated by taking the $1,000 monthly payment and multiplying this by the 11 months remaining in the GRAF contract to arrive at a remaining commitment amount of $11,000. For questions regarding payroll commitments, please contact your HR advisor. Details can be found on the Human Resources website. For questions regarding non-payroll commitments, you may contact your research accounting finance contact. This information is available on your research project statements. Purchase requisitions and purchase orders. Purchase requisitions and purchase orders are another type of research project commitment. When procuring research-related goods and services through the PeopleSoft finance system, initially, a commitment will be created for the purchase requisition. Once all the appropriate approvals are obtained, the purchase requisition is then converted into a purchase order commitment. To view additional details regarding procurement-related topics, please visit the Strategic Procurement Services website. As purchase orders are paid, the payment is expensed in the research project and the related commitment is reduced accordingly. Research overhead. Research overhead, also referred to as indirect costs, represent expenses necessary to support research which may not be attributable to a specific research project. Overhead commitments reflect funds which have been budgeted to pay for indirect costs, but have not yet been expensed in Queen's General Ledger. Overhead commitments are calculated and posted to applicable research projects at the end of the fiscal month. Please note that overhead may not apply to all research projects. Overhead commitments are calculated as budgeted overhead based on the approved research grant or contract, less overhead expenses incurred to date. To learn more about research overhead, please refer to the training material, Research Overhead: Understanding the Basics. Overhead commitments can be identified by committed amounts which appear against account 693000. These amounts are reserved for future research overhead payments. Travel advances. Travel advances are another type of commitment you may see in a research project. Travel advances requested through the Employee Reimbursement System, or ERS, are now committed against the applicable research project. Prior to the ERS, these advances were expensed in the research projects. Travel advances are committed at the end of each fiscal month. Once the travel has occurred, the travel claim may be submitted through the ERS. At that time, the travel will be expensed in the research project, and the travel advance commitment will be reduced at the end of the fiscal month. Subject payment advances. The last type of research commitment we will discuss relates to subject payment advances. Subject payment advances requested through the ERS will be reflected as commitments in research projects. Once the subject payment advance is accounted for through the ERS, the subject payment will be expensed in the research project and the commitment will be cleared. For additional details regarding payments to research study participants, please visit the Financial Services website. Account 603005 is used to record subject payment expenses in the research project. Commitments in the month of April. It is important to be aware that for salary and benefit payroll commitments, committed amounts are calculated to the earlier of the end of the salary contract or the university fiscal year end of April 30th. For example, assuming that payroll cutoff has been met, if a salary contract is processed by payroll services for the period September 1st, 2015 to August 31st, 2016, the first salary and benefit expense will appear in the project in September 2015 once payroll is processed. The remaining commitment will also appear in the month of September. Payments will then continue on a regular basis, and the commitment will continue to be reduced accordingly. However, in the month of April 2016, 0 commitments will appear in the project. Monthly salary and benefit commitments will then resume again in the month of May 2016 for the remainder of the contract. Non-payroll commitments will initially appear in the month of April. However, they will not appear on the final April research statements. This is due to the fact that non-payroll commitments are carried forward at the end of the fiscal year and reported in the May research statements. Given these details, when reviewing April research statements, report users must manually estimate future commitment amounts. When closing a research project, it is important to ensure that all commitments within the project have been cleared. Final project expenses must be posted to the research project, and all commitments must be cleared by the project spending deadline, or PSD, which in some cases may be later than the project end date. The project spending deadline is the final date that expenses may be posted to the project. To determine what your PSD is by project, refer to the Project Summary Report or the Statement of Operations Research Report. How may we help you today? If you have questions, give us a call at 613-533-2050. Our fax number is 613-533-6433. Email us at finance@queensU.ca or visit the Financial Services website. We are located at 207 Stewart Street, 3rd floor in the Rideau Building. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This concludes our tutorial. To learn more or to review additional training resources and video tutorials, visit the Financial Services training page.